12月14号至16号，新疆的就业和社会保障国际研讨会在乌鲁木齐举行，旨在向国际社会讲述新疆的劳动就业和社会保障故事。200余名国内外嘉宾、中外媒体受邀参加会议。大家围绕美国等西方一些国家凭空捏造中国新疆存在所谓强迫劳动谎言、新疆保障劳动就业的经验做法等内容进行发言。2018年以来，美国以新疆存在所谓强迫劳动为由，出台2020年维吾尔人权政策法、维吾尔强迫劳动预防法，对中国107家企业和实体实施了单边强制措施，严重破坏了新疆的产业链、供应链稳定，对新疆产业发展、企业利益和广大劳动者生产生活造成消极影响。土耳其中国商业促进与友好协会主席阿德南·阿克弗拉特在研讨会上表示，单边制裁是反人类罪行。
Thank you for accepting our interview. What is your comment on the so-called Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act?
I know. I visit all the cotton farms that I try to understand. Also, it's ridiculous. Why? So everything is so mechanized that you use the machine. Why you use the cotton for the forced labor? That it's incredible. That's a totally lie. Most nonsense act in the world because there is no forced labor, and all the people in the world, they are trying to find labor. They are trying to find work. It's amazing. Every year, create 480,000 new jobs. This government is trying to create a new job and lifting people from the poverty. Their main aim to stop China, to damage the Chinese image all over the world, because China is rising, the US is losing the dominance of the world. So that they are trying to use every kind of forces against China to stop China. This is Forced Labor Act it's only a tool to stop China, stop Xinjiang.
The U.S. trade sanctions have damaged the interests of China's enterprises, and it is also a serious damage to the stability of the global industrial chain and supply chain. How does it disrupt the international trade order step by step?
The United States Act is damaging its hegemony on the world. So that it's like a lottery. You don't know what will happen. It can come to you. The United States is imposing sanctions about the 2/3 of the world, that they actually put sanctions themselves, because you cannot be an enemy all over the world. If you try to be an enemy all over the world, then you will be isolated. You will lose it. Now they are going to understand this. These Putin sanctions, of course, it damaged China, mostly damaged the Xinjiang people. If you put sanctions on the Xinjiang cotton, then it will create the cotton prices will be increased. That the result, all of the textile companies are suffering from this, and also the people, the American people or European people, they are losing because of this nonsense act and nonsense sanction.
Facing the tough situation, how can Xinjiang make use of its advantages to position itself in the restructuring of the global supply chain and industrial chain?
Xinjiang has 8 neighbors. I have visited the Korgos. I admire the work, heavy work has done in Korgos. So at the moment, Xinjiang export is developing very fast. Number 1 in China. Xinjiang can benefit from this having 8 neighbor countries, and establishing the logistic hubs and the railroad, and also the trucks, also air cargo. And I know the big potential in Xinjiang. for international trading. For example, I became aware of that how the renewable energy has developed in Xinjiang. Generating hydrogen is number one in Xinjiang. The generating hydrogen technology is much developed in Xinjiang. If we create an logistic connection, then these industrial products of Xinjiang can easily export to Europe. I'm sure that not only the agriculture products, also the industrial products can easily export to Europe, West Asia, through Turkey to North Africa, Central Asia, now the biggest market, but also the Middle East, the Arab world, welcoming the Xinjiang products.
尊重和保障人权是中国共产党人的不懈追求。某些西方国家恶意炒作涉疆议题，炮制所谓强迫劳动谎言，并贸然实施单边制裁，打压新疆番茄、棉花、光伏等产业，其行径充斥着政治私利与偏见，严重违背了事实真相。来自加拿大知名网络博主丹尼尔·邓布里尔，此前他因公开拆穿西方涉疆谎言而受到媒体关注。在这次国际研讨会上，丹尼尔·邓布里尔分享了自身的一些经历。他认为，西方炮制所谓强迫劳动谎言是由地缘政治驱动。
Well, there's multiple reasons why they do it. One of the main reasons is that America doesn't want to see China surpass the US. And the way that they stop that from happening is they discredit China on the international stage. The other thing is to then take away those economic opportunities from locals to try to recreate that unrest. And then there's a second motive also. There are companies in the US that would like to see products sanctioned in China so that they can improve their business. So for example, the aluminum industry was lobbying the US government, saying that they want the US aluminum industry to be protected, but they have really stiff competition from China. What can they do about it? 9 months later, the US magically says, we found forced labor in the aluminum industry. So you can almost predict which industries will be sanctioned based on which strategic interests they have or based on what their lobbyists are asking for. This has become a very convenient excuse. So there's geopolitical reasons and there's also economic reasons. None of it is based in reality.
Many foreign tourists have come to Xinjiang and told foreign netizens what they have seen and heard here. It has become a hot topic and traffic password on international social media platforms. Do you think this is also the best refutation of the false information of Xinjiang spread by the US and Western politicians?
Yeah, I think, with China opening up and offering more visa-free entry to multiple countries, you naturally had a lot of vloggers and people who are coming over here to see for themselves and tell the story. And of course, what they see is completely different from what they see in Western media, because now you have Westerners coming over here. Some of them were coming expecting to find the things that they were told about in Western media. And when they arrive here, they say, wow, this is totally different from what I expected. That definitely brings a whole new element which can help convince people of what is actually happening, of the truth. Where the US is actually, they proposed a bill where they would ban Americans from going to Xinjiang. That in itself is, I think, a level of panic that's happening now that they realize people are going to see for themselves and the inevitable is happening. They're seeing that the reality on the ground is completely different from what they have been told in Western media.
In the international public opinion field, how should Xinjiang respond and refute those false excuses for sanctions, in your opinion?
I think you obviously have to tell the stories here. You have to tell the individual stories of people who are impacted by this. When the US sanctions cotton, there are ordinary Uyghur farmers who tell their stories, but also explain to Western audiences about these underlying motives. Because if Western audiences can connect the dots and they can say, oh, okay, here's the motive. So I think there needs to be a little bit more detail. With recent global events, people are waking up to the fact that the things that their government and their media say are sometimes very disconnected from the reality on the ground. So it might be a good time to put more effort into this storytelling again, because maybe the truth can prevail now